The laughter from inside my house echoed in my ears. Returning from a business trip, I stood outside my own home, only to find the lock had been changed. My wife's family had successfully stolen the house I had worked so hard to buy, and the ending, welcome to Reddit Stories. This is a place where we share real stories from anonymous Reddit users. I never thought I'd be the one telling this story. If it were me a year ago, I would have stayed silent, swallowed everything and pretended things were fine. But not anymore. I've been silent long enough. Ava and I, my wife, we met during our final year in college. I studied engineering. She was in business management. Ava always had a way with words. She could make anyone feel important, seen. That's what drew me to her. She made me feel like all the sacrifices I made were worth something. We got married 2 years into working life. I had just landed a job at a small engineering firm. The pay was modest, but enough. Ava hadn't found anything stable yet. She bounced between jobs, trying different things. I didn't complain. I believe when two people choose to be together, the stronger one carries more for a while. 3 years after our wedding, I bought our first house. It wasn't big. No pool, no fancy backyard. But it was mine. Every wall. Every tile was paid for with overtime hours. Skipped weekends and countless sacrifices. I didn't buy it just for me. I bought it for my little family, Ava and me, and hopefully one day, our future kids. Then it happened. Ava's family hit rock bottom. Her parents invested in a real estate project that turned out to be a scam. They lost their home, their savings, everything. Her younger sister, Chloe, had just graduated and was unemployed. Her younger brother, Ryan, had dropped out of college because of stress. Suddenly, all 6 of them had nowhere to go. And without thinking, I opened our door and said, "You can stay, as long as you need." I didn't hesitate. I thought, when someone falls, family should be the first to offer a hand. I believed that. I renovated the basement into a livable room, added extra beds to the living room, rearranged the kitchen, bought more plates, more pillows, more of everything. The house got tighter, but I kept saying, as long as they're comfortable, that's what matters. I still remember the day Ava cried on my shoulder and said, "You're the best man I've ever known." And I believed her, believed so deeply that I thought they would always remember what I did for them. But I was wrong. The longer they stayed, the less they saw me. I became the cook, the cleaner, the bill payer. No one asked how I was doing. Every time I tried to bring up the pressure I was feeling, Ava would gently touch my arm and say, "Don't stress, okay? They're family." Yeah, her family. But what about me? I remember coming home late one evening, stuck in traffic after a long day. I opened the door to find 3 of them laughing on the couch, watching a movie, popcorn flying everywhere. My dinner? Forgotten. I went to the kitchen, reheated the leftover rice and cold meat, ate alone, and washed everyone's dishes while Chloe walked in and said, "Hey, can you wash these too? I'm in the middle of an episode." I looked at Ava. She just smiled, didn't say a word. And I took it, not because I was weak, but because I still hoped things would get better, that they'd eventually get back on their feet and return the space to just Ava and me. But I was wrong again. They had no plans of leaving. And I slowly started feeling like I didn't belong in the very home I paid for. I began noticing the little things. How I was edged out of conversations. How I'd come home and feel like a guest. How I'd cook but barely be acknowledged. I wasn't a husband, a host, or even a man would say anymore. I was just there, a background character. And then came the moment that changed everything. The night I returned from a 2-day work trip and found my bedroom door locked. I had just come back from a business trip. It was only 2 days long, but I missed home. Not because I missed the chaos of 6 people packed into my house, but because I missed my bed, the one place that still felt like mine. I pulled into the driveway, grabbed my bag, and unlocked the front door. The lights in the living room were on. The TV was blasting. I could hear Ava laughing with someone, probably her mom or Chloe. I smiled a little. After all, this was my home. I was supposed to feel welcome. I walked down the hallway to our bedroom, reached for the door handle, turned it. It didn't open. I tried again, harder, still locked. My eyebrows furrowed. That door was never locked. I knocked lightly. No answer. Then I knocked louder. Ava, you in there? I heard hurried footsteps. The door creaked open slightly. But it wasn't Ava standing there. It was Ryan, her brother, wearing my pajamas, earbuds in, eyes glued to his phone screen, annoyed that I had disturbed him. What? He muttered, barely glancing up. I froze. It took me a few seconds before I could even speak. Ryan, why are you in my bedroom? He shrugged. Ava said it was okay. I'm just trying to sleep. I locked it for peace and quiet. I turned toward Ava, who had just come down the hallway holding a glass of water. Her face looked completely normal, like nothing was wrong. You gave Ryan our bedroom? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She gave me a casual smile, like this was no big deal. Ryan's been having insomnia all week. The basement's too noisy, he said. Since you were away, the room was free, just for a few days. Don't worry, she added. I made up the couch for you already. The couch. She had it all planned. I walked down to the living room in silence, looked at the old couch, my temporary sleeping spot that had somehow become permanent. Ava had laid out a pillow and blanket, like that made it all okay. I sat down, hands on my forehead, mind spinning. I had been working nonstop to support this entire household. They had no jobs. I paid the bills. No food? I bought the groceries. No place to live? I remodeled the house. And now, even my own bed had been taken? I heard Ryan laughing from behind the locked door. My door. Ava walked over, looking mildly apologetic. Try to understand, she said. Ryan really needed this. You were away anyway. I didn't say anything, just nodded. That night, I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The sound of the TV echoed from the basement. Chloe was laughing at some reality show. Ava? She had gone back to the bedroom, with Ryan sleeping inside. And I was alone, curled up on a piece of furniture that wasn't built for sleep, wrapped in a thin blanket, like a stranger in his own house. Cold, sore, and humiliated. For the first time, I realized I didn't belong here anymore. This wasn't my home. Not really. And the worst part? No one else seemed to notice, except me. From that night on, everything changed. Not in some explosive, dramatic way, but slowly, silently, like a crack spreading across a wall. So quiet you barely notice it until the whole thing collapses. I slept on that couch for almost a month. At first, Ava would still ask, "Are you okay?" But that stopped pretty quickly. She got used to it. Everyone did. The couch became my spot. And no one ever asked how I felt about it. They lived comfortably, as if I didn't exist. One time, I came home exhausted after a long day in a downpour. I just wanted to lie down for a few minutes. But when I walked in, my couch, my only sleeping space, was occupied. Ava's dad was stretched out on it, watching the news with his feet propped up, a bag of chips resting on his stomach. I stood there soaking wet, my work bag still in my hand, and no one even looked up. I went into the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and leaned against the wall. Ava saw me and said calmly, "Dad was tired, so he laid down for a bit. Can you sleep on the floor tonight?" I put out the rug. The rug. I nodded, because nodding was easier than arguing. It caused less conflict, less pain, even if it made me feel like less than nothing. Then came dinner. I used to cook because I liked it, because I thought sharing meals was part of building a home. But now, I cooked because no one else would. I'd come home from work, still in my shoes, and Ava would already have a list of things for me to grab from the store. Can you swing by and grab ribs? Mom's craving sour soup. Oh, and Chloe's doing a plant-based diet. Don't forget tofu. I couldn't remember the last time we ate something I liked, or the last time I sat at the table, without immediately being the one washing everyone's dishes afterward. Every day I was a machine, working, shopping, cooking, cleaning. I wasn't part of the family. I was their unpaid housekeeper. So I stopped talking. I pulled back. I'd come home, smile politely, then spend the night on the porch listening to music through my earbuds, just to block out the sound of my own disappointment. I once thought Ava loved me for who I was, but now I couldn't help wondering, did she love me because I was the one who never said no? One weekend, I tried to fix things. I booked us dinner, just the two of us, Ava's favorite Italian restaurant. It had been so long since we'd spent time together, without the noise of her family in the background. She was rinsing vegetables when I walked into the kitchen. "Hey," I said gently, "how about dinner tonight? Just us. I made a reservation already." She didn't look up. "Oh, tonight? I promised Chloe I'd take her to the mall, and Ryan's got a headache. I don't want to leave him alone." I just stood there. She turned, gave me a half-hearted smile, and patted my arm like I was a child needing reassurance. "Next time, okay? Family comes first, right? Family comes first." I walked out of the kitchen, heart sinking. I wasn't family anymore. I was the optional extra, the one who was always expected to understand, adjust, and stay quiet. Then it happened. One night, after a brutal overtime shift, I dragged myself home, body aching. All I wanted was to lie down, even on the floor, but when I slipped my key into the door, it didn't turn. They'd changed the lock. I stood confused, rain still dripping off my jacket. The lights inside were on. I could hear laughing. I knocked. Chloe opened the door, surprised. "Oh, you're not home yet? We thought you were on another trip." I frowned. "No, I was at work." "Why is the lock different?" Chloe stammered. Mom said it was for safety. There's been some thefts in the neighborhood." Ava appeared behind her. She looked tired but calm. "Sorry, I meant to tell you. We changed it for extra security. I forgot to text." I nodded slowly, walked into the house without a word. Ryan was lying on the couch, my couch, playing video games, earbuds in, not even glancing at me. I didn't speak, just went upstairs, grabbed a blanket, and walked back outside to the front steps. It was cold that night, but not as cold as the house I no longer belonged to. I sat there, staring at the golden glow of the living room windows. Every laugh, every bit of chatter from inside felt like a slap. And it hit me, I wasn't part of their lives anymore. And maybe I never really had been. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't throw a fit. I'd already moved past anger. Now I just felt empty. That night, I slept on the front steps of the house I bought. A thin blanket, couldn't fight off the cold. Rainwater from earlier still pooled on the pavement, and I leaned against the front door, my own door, that no longer opened for me. The next morning, I left for work as usual. No one asked where I'd slept. No one cared. They ate breakfast, sipped tea, talked about grocery lists, while I floated to the background like a ghost. And that's when it hit me. If I disappeared tomorrow, this house would keep functioning just fine. The only one who still thought I mattered was me. That day, I didn't go home after work. Instead, I sat at my office desk, opened my personal laptop, and began logging into every account, every legal and financial corner of our lives that I had built. You see, I'd always been careful, organized. The mortgage was in my name, the utilities, the bank accounts, even the credit cards. Ava had access, but I had control. Tab 1 banking. I transferred all my savings into a private account under my name only, left exactly $50 in the shared one. Then I canceled all Ava's secondary credit cards, the ones she used for online shopping, groceries, utilities. All of it. Tab 2 property. The house had always been in my name. I bought it before we got married, and I paid every installment. That night, I messaged my lawyer and started the process of transferring the house to my cousin, someone I trusted completely, someone who would let me rent a small place while taking over the ownership and cutting Ava out. Tab 3 utilities. I canceled the internet, the cable, scheduled the electricity and water to be disconnected in 3 days. All of it was under my name. All of it was mine to shut off. That evening I came home. just like any other night. Ryan was sprawled out on my couch, still my couch, playing games. Ava's mom was watching her soap opera. Ava scrolled on her phone, her legs tucked up on the armrest like a queen on her throne. No one looked up when I entered. I said nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom, still off limits to me, and quietly packed my remaining things. A few clothes, a notebook, my old razor. Nothing much. I had let go of most of it already. Then I walked back out the door. No one asked where I was going. No one stopped me. I rented a small apartment. Old, worn down, but peaceful. For the first time in a long time, I slept through the night. No TVs blaring. No footsteps stomping upstairs. Just silence. Just space. The next day, I got the first text from Ava. "Hey, can you check the electric bill? I can't seem to pay it." I didn't reply. An hour later, "Internet's down. Did you cancel something?" Still nothing from me. Then, the bank declined her card while shopping. That's when she called. I didn't pick up. That night, I sat in my new place, sipping tea, the lights dim, soft jazz playing. My phone buzzed nonstop. Ava, her mom, Ryan, one call after another. I turned off notifications. I wasn't hiding. I just didn't want to be pulled back into the role of the fixer. Not this time. On the third day, my lawyer called to confirm. The house was officially no longer mine. My cousin now owned it. If they wanted to stay, they could try asking him for rent. That night, I ate instant noodles, simple, cheap, but warm and quiet. I didn't have to cook for 6. I didn't have to share. I didn't have to wash everyone's dishes. And for the first time, I tasted peace. On day 4, Ava showed up at my office. She was waiting by the elevator when I came out. Her eyes were puffy, her hair messy. Behind her was frustration and fear. "You really think this is okay?" she said, trembling. "Cutting off the money, the cards, the utilities disappearing like this?" I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in weeks. "You remember the night I slept outside?" I asked quietly, in the rain, on the doorstep. "Did you come out to open the door?" She looked caught off guard, fumbled for words. I was tired. I thought you'd come home later. I must have fallen asleep." I nodded. "Now it's your turn to fall asleep on the cold side of things." I stepped past her, left her standing in that hallway. And for the first time in years, my heart didn't twist with guilt. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need revenge. I had finally stood up from being a shadow. I knew they'd call. I figured there'd be texts, apologies, maybe a few excuses. But what I didn't expect was for them to show up at my door. A week after I moved out, after all the missed calls and unread messages, Ava and her whole family stood outside my new apartment. I knew it was in the moment I heard the sharp click of heels in the hallway, followed by Chloe's whining voice and Ryan's irritated muttering. Then the knock came, firm, insistent, unapologetic. I opened the door, still holding my coffee mug. Ava stood in front, eyes red. Behind her, her mother looked stiff and annoyed. Ryan had his usual, "I don't care" posture, though he looked rougher than usual. And Thomas, her father, stood in silence like always. "You really think this was the right thing to do?" Ava snapped, her voice sharp. "Cutting us off? The money, the cards, the utilities, just walking away like that?" I didn't answer immediately. I looked at each of them, really looked, and for once, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel outnumbered. Ryan had to sleep at a friend's place. Ava continued, frustration rising. "I used up all my savings covering the last bills. Mom's been panicking about being evicted. And you're just sitting here, living comfortably like nothing happened." I gently placed my coffee on a side table and crossed my arms. "That's not your house anymore, Ava," I said calmly. Her face went pale. I transferred the title. "My cousin owns it now. If you want to stay, you can talk to him about rent. If not, you can move out." Her mom suddenly stepped forward. "Do you have any idea what you're doing?" she barked. "You're tearing this family apart." I turned to her, voice steady. "No, ma'am. This family tore itself apart when I got pushed out of my own bedroom. So your grown son could sleep better. When I was treated like a walking wallet. When I was locked out of the house I paid for. I glanced at Ryan. He looked down, embarrassed for once. When did it become okay for me to sleep on the floor while everyone else stretched out in comfort? When did I become the last person anyone considered in the house I built? Ava faltered. She shifted uncomfortably, then stepped forward. I didn't mean for things to get like this. I was trying to help my family. I thought you'd understand. I did, I said. For too long, I gave and I gave, thinking one day you'd give back. But you didn't. And when you gave my bed to someone else, that's when I knew I'd already been replaced. Ava's expression softened. Her voice turned quiet, almost pleading. So, what now? I don't even know where to begin again. Are you really just going to leave us like this? I sighed, not angry, just stunned. You once said, family comes first. Remember? Well, now I'm my own family, and I come first. I stepped back inside, left the door open behind me, but no one followed. I heard their footsteps retreat after a few seconds. Ava didn't yell. She didn't chase me down. Maybe she finally understood. A few days later, I received a letter, handwritten, from Thomas, Ava's father, the man who'd said the least throughout everything. His handwriting was uneven, like someone trying too hard to fit everything onto one page. I should have spoken up sooner, but I didn't. And now I'm watching it all fall apart, unable to stop it. You were the one who held that house together. And when you left, I realized the family we thought we had only stood because of you. At the bottom, just 3 words. I am sorry. I folded the letter, placed it in a drawer. Didn't reply. I didn't need apologies. I just needed the strength to never go back to the man I was. Now I live alone. A small apartment. Quiet. Simple. I cook what I like. Sleep when I want. Play my music loud or soft depending on my mood. I've been fixing up my old car. Going for morning walks. Drinking coffee without interruptions. No one tells me I'm being too quiet. No one expects me to fix everything. And if someone asks what changed, I smile and say, I stopped asking for space in the lives of people who never wanted to make room for me. Welcome to Reddit Stories, and thank you for listening to a true tale, shared by someone anonymous, but deeply real. See you in the next story.